know it's super easy to make a washcloth? You can make yourself a designer set of towels and washcloths for your bathroom, and it's not very hard at all. In fact, I'm going to show you how to make a washcloth that'll only take 15 minutes. All you really need is a piece of flannel and a piece of terry cloth. And I have this terry cloth, which is a knit terry cloth, but you of course could choose, a woven terry cloth, whatever you want. In fact, my other terry cloth is woven. And you can actually do 2 pieces of terry cloth, or you can do 2 pieces of flannel. There's no reason why you can't use 2 pieces of flannel. That'd be great, especially like for a baby washcloth. This is an excellent project to make if you need to make a quick gift for someone or make a bunch of gifts for people. Just wrap it up with a pretty bar of soap and hand them out, and people will love you forever. So this is basically the one we're going to make, except we're going to make it in these fun pink colors. So the first thing you want to do is you want to round your corners. And if you can see right here, all I did was I traced the edge of a roll of tape on there with a removable pin. And I rounded all my other corners. But then you just cut along the line so that it gets nice and round. And if you're very worried that they're not all even, you can always, line them up and make sure. And so I have my flannel fabric ready to go and my terry cloth. I want to add a little bit of twill tape to my terry cloth because I think that makes it look, it kind of gives it that traditional washcloth look. And regarding size, actually, most washcloths are between 10 and 12 inches. So these pieces have been cut at 10.5, and then when I sew them, that gives me 1/4 inch seams for my seam allowances, and it'll end up being 10 inches. So this one will be smaller, but you can make larger washcloths, whatever you prefer. You could make a ginormous washcloth, and you might call that a towel. Okay, so I'm going to take my twill tape, and actually you can pin it in place, or I like to just use this quick basting spray because it's fast and simple, and once you stick it on, it will stay nicely right to your washcloth. And I'm just eyeballing this. If you want to make sure it's perfectly positioned so that it's exactly straight across, you might want to get your cutting mat out and refer to a line. And this side of my washcloth didn't get as much glue, so I am going to use a pin right there. And then you'll just stitch on your little embellishment that we have here with this cotton twill tape. You can use any kind of embellishment you want. Just remember, it's going to be something that you're using on your skin. So you don't want to use like a scratchy ribbon or anything that would be unpleasant to rub on your skin. So I'm just going to line up the edge of my twill tape with the edge of my presser foot, and then sew it on real quick with a straight stitch. And we want to use 2 straight stitches down the length of it. You of course could do zigzag stitch, you could do a decorative stitch, whatever you prefer, whatever looks fancy and makes you happy. Of course, it's all your choice. This is totally customizable. Pull out that pin there. And then when I get down to the end here, once I'm within the seam allowance, I pivot and I stitch up the edge because no one will see this as it's in the seam allowance. And then I just pivot again, and I'm ready to sew down the side here. And you just want to kind of let the machine do the work for you, guide it through. Thanks to that adhesive, it's going to stay right in place, or if you're using pins, it'll stay in place. Quick back stitch. Okay, you can see now that I've stitched my embellishment of the twill tape on, and I'm ready to put these pieces right sides together. And I need to pin all the way around, just because you're working with 2 different densities of fabric here. The flannel is kind of bulky, but it's not as bulky as the terry cloth. So you want to make sure that you're pinning to make sure all the layers are going to stay together. So I always start by getting the corners at the diagonals. And there's that. And then you need to make sure you mark where an opening is going to go. So I'm going to put 1 horizontal pin up here to remind myself, because you want to have about a 2-inch or 2 to 3 inch opening. And then you can pin as much as you want at that point. And once you have finished pinning, you'll just stitch the perimeter. So you're going to start here at this pin, work your way around and come back up. And we're going to use 1/4 inch seam allowances, which is what I built in when I cut it out. Okay. And oh, and actually it looks like I did 1/2 inches on this one. So we're going to use 1/2 inch seam allowances, and this will end up being, a 9.5 inch washcloth. So you can see my opening is right here, and I've gone ahead and I've clipped all my corner seams that are nice and rounded there because we want those to turn out nicely. So you'll just open it up and pull it through. And I like to point my corners out as I go, but sometimes things are disagreeable. So we'll just pull, there we go. And at this point you actually kind of want to give it a good press so that you can fold in the open edge that you have. And let's see what else. One more corner, then we'll be all set. Okay. So you would want to go ahead and press this real quick so that you have nice smooth edges, and then of course press this opening up here so it's flat. But you can see your embellishments down here, and your back is going to be kind of plain. And then you just stitch the perimeter. And you can see on our original one that you just stitch that perimeter right there, and it holds all the layers together and it sews the opening shut. And that's the last step. You now have a washcloth. You're ready to just stitch a couple up or stitch several up and give them away, or keep them for yourself, whatever makes you happy. These work great in the kitchen or the bath or anywhere else you might imagine that you might need a washcloth. So I hope you enjoy making this project. I have certainly enjoyed making it with you today.